Hi, this is Walt from Lone Wolf Rolls-Royce Bentley Service in Chino, California. This is just a small addendum covering the tools that normally it takes to do this job on the rear hubs. I just forgot to cover that in the last video, so I just wanted to give you a little short on the tools that are involved. There are a few tools that you probably can't get a hold of, but there's some alternate tools that you could use. But let me just show you what's involved here. On this card here alone, everything has to be used. This is actually the hub removal tool. This actually pops the yoke off, and it's actually hydraulically powered. You could not replicate this thing and take this thing apart without this tool. It's very, very hard. It's like a press fit. So this in itself, very expensive tool, and I bought mine so many years ago. It was thousands of dollars back then. God only knows what they want for it today. This is also the type of grease that I use when I repack the bearings. It's a high temperature disc brake grease. And you can pretty much pick this up anywhere. It's made by Stay Loop products. These pliers here I actually use for compressing the brake pads. That's all that we really use this for. The torque wrench we use for torquing all the bolts when everything gets reassembled. When we take it apart, we usually use an air gun, like this one over here. These are all the sockets that are involved here. This one takes off the main nut that controls the adjustment on the bearings, and then various other sockets. This is actually the socket that goes for the flange nut that has to be tightened at 500 foot-pounds of torque. And as you can see, this is a huge monster. It's a 1-inch drive, and it's 1 inch and 11/16, just for the record. You will have to use a special torque wrench, and again, very expensive and very large. You can see how big this thing is in comparisons to the tool crib that it's sitting on. The one I use is from Snap-on. It's good for 500 foot-pounds, and you really have to pull down on this thing with all your weight. I'm about 200 pounds, 6'1", and it's a job for me alone. And one side, well, actually on this particular car, you can't even tighten these things on while they're bolted in the car because of the unique rear assembly. You literally have to do this in a vise. So you have to make sure that the repair shop that is going to do this job for this particular year, they have to have like a 5 or 6 inch vise anchored and lagged into the ground with some kind of a steel post, so that you can literally pull and make about 500 foot-pounds to tighten up that nut in the back. If you don't tighten that nut to the full 500 foot-pounds, it stands a good chance for that Woodruff key to literally break, shear off. That's the Woodruff key. And that Woodruff key goes right in here, right in that little slot there. You can see it. Let me put a point on it. Right here. And here's the Woodruff key. They don't just drop in usually, you have to tap them in. And that will actually lodge into that little slot there. And if you see, there's actually a taper to that slot. And that's what gives you all the pressure and keeps that little thing from coming apart. But if you do not tighten this nut to 500 foot-pounds, let's just say you do it to 300, there stands a good chance chopping this thing right in half. I've seen it done many a time, and that's because there are people that just don't torque them down enough, and then you have a problem. If you do torque it down, you will not have a problem. At any rate, this is just a little addendum from the other video that I shot. So I just want to inform you, those who like to do their own work or want to get involved into this type of a job, that there are quite a few things involved in doing this rear hub assembly, service, and repair. Okay, that's it for now at Rollin' Wolf. I hear a customer at my back door, so I gotta go. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.